Hi guys, my name's Max. Again. So I'm gonna tell you it's like the 3 Little Pigs, but I modified it, which means changed it. So it's maybe it's better. I don't know. So once upon a time, there was 3 little dogs that lived with their mom, and they moved out. The mom said, "You guys have to move out." So the dog said, "Why?" And the mom said, "Well, you guys are getting too old and you're eating all my food, so all of our food." And so they started out the door, and the mom said, "Stop. Here's some money for you guys to build some houses." So the dog started walking, and then the mom said, "Stop." And then she said, "Watch out for the big bad cat." And then they all waved to their mom and said bye. You guys wave, say bye, bye. And then they went to town. They started walking to town. And the next day they were in town. They got to town and they saw the fair, and they saw a bunch of rides and roller coasters and cotton candy, popcorn, stuff like that. And they said, "Well, we should go to the fair tomorrow and we should save them some money." Well, what about, and so they said, "Today we'll find materials to build their houses." So they saw 3 wagons coming down the road with a horse pulling the wagons. And then in the first wagon, and the first dog said, "Ooh, there's some bones. I'm gonna build my house out of bones, dog bones." And he said, "Ooh, I'm gonna build my house out of bones." So he gives the horseback rider some money and takes the horse and the wagon to a prairie and builds his house out of bones. And then this third dog sees a cart coming over with a bunch of sticks and mud, and he's gonna build his sticks out of mud, and his house out of sticks and mud. And so then the second dog said, "Ooh, here comes a wagon made of ice cream. I want to build my house out of ice cream." So he paid the horse rider his money, gave him his money for the ice cream. And he took the ice cream to a prairie and started building. So the next morning, the first dog was in his house, and he was cooking. He was making soup, and he was making potato soup. And then the cat, big bad cat, he came over and he looked through the window and said, "I could make dog soup for dinner." And then he knocks on the door and said, "Knock, knock, knock. Do it with me. Knock, 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 knock." Good job. And then he said, "Let me in. Not on the nose, not on the hair of my nosy nose." And then the cat said, "Fine, I will scratch. Scratch with me. I will scratch, and I will scratch, and I will tear your house down." So he tore his house down, and then he tore his house down, and then the dog went running over to his brother's house, the third dog's house, made out of mud and sticks. So then he opened the door and then closed it and locked it. Locked the door. And then he locked the door, and then the big bad cat came over and he knocked on the door and said, "Let me in. Not on the," say it with me, "nose, not on the hair of my nosy nose." And then the big bad cat said, "I will," do it with me, "scratch, and I will scratch, and I will tear So then he tore his house down, and then they went running over to the second dog's house, their brother's house. And they opened the door, and then they locked the door. Lock the door. So then they locked the door, and then the cat came over and said, "Let me in." Not only
hair on my nosy nose.
So then the cat said, "Fine, I will scratch, and I will scratch, and I will tear your house down." So then he tore his house. He tried to tear his house down. And 2 hours later, he was still scratching. And it was made of ice cream. And he was still scratching and scratching. And he just made a little tiny hole. And he said, "Hold on, I'm going to my brother's house. I'll be right back. You guys stay there." So they kept making the stew. And another 30 minutes later, a few minutes later, the cat came back with a ladder. And they put a ladder up. He put it on the roof. He climbed up the roof. Climbed the ladder. And then he's on the roof, and he tries to slide down the chimney. The dogs, luckily, they had a barrel, because the dog that made the house out of ice cream, he had a barrel. All the ice cream was in the barrel. They took the barrel and they put it under the chimney. So when the cat came down, he fell in the barrel. They quickly put the lid on, twisted it on, tightened it, and then rolled it out the door. And they rolled it down the hill, and then it fell into the stream and went into the ocean. And they were like, "Let's go to the fair." So they were enjoying a ride on the fair, and at the fair. And then, while the cat was floating away in the ocean, what do you think he was doing? Eating sardines, fish, and then a bit and the end. Any questions or anything?
Give them one quick stretch, and then we'll have another storyteller.
All right.
So stand up and show them one quick stretch.
Stretch.